Welcome to this episode of Oh, by the way. We're back in the confessional here in Hanover.
Yeah, we've been on the road.
And we have been. We've done a lot of location shoots, which have been a lot of fun for you and I.
I've enjoyed them.
Despite the fact that I have to carry a lot of camera gear around,
Yeah.
but I hope you've enjoyed them as well.
Mm-hmm.
We can't go wrong with our Buffalo Wild Wings shoot.
No,
though.
that was fun.
That was fun.
We need to do more of those restaurant shoots.
I know, it's so hard to get into those.
I know,
but that was...
We were very, very blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we have a guest today in the studio with us.
Welcome. This is our very dear friend, volunteer, board member, and program graduate, Lynn Stambaugh. I feel like we should have our little Hannah Banana here too.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point we'll bring her on the air. But thank you for being here. Lynn is kind of doing this show for us because she wears many hats here at Olivia's house. And one of those hats is a volunteer receptionist at our front desk in Hanover, and we said we need to do a show and we want to talk about all the things that go on, and you're one of those people that are kind of in the mix of everything. So she even agreed to be on the show, so it doesn't get much better.
Yeah. And I also think it was important, one of the reasons we wanted to ask you here is earlier in the season we had an interview with an alumni of the program, Jamie Lissauer. It was great. I really enjoyed spending time with her and getting the perspective of what it was like for her as a child to come through the program, now being an adult. How did that influence? But I said it'd be so cool to have the perspective of the parent adult in the world of the child that went through the program, and what does that look like?
Because a lot of people think that it's a kids grief center and just the kids come and it's kind of drop your kids off. They think it's therapy, and it's not that at all. And the adults must be here with their children, and we teach the adults, I think, far more than we teach the kids sometimes. So what was that like for you when you had to decide to bring Hannah here?
It wasn't an easy decision. I mean, nobody wants to take an evening every week and drive to York, but I feel like I got a lot out of it. Her being 7, I'm not sure how much she got out of it, but I think it was more important for me to carry through the rest of her, especially teenage years. And as you know, we came back then, she hit a little rough patch, and so
as most kids do as they develop and age. And her daddy died when she was 7, and he had an illness, so you had a little time to prepare. And you were sharing with me that it was probably in the program for the first time that you realized, well, maybe that was a little bit of a blessing compared to some other folks.
Oh yeah, we did have time to prepare. We had time to talk to Hannah, and Dane could say some things maybe that he wanted to get out, and being 7, he didn't say too many things, but we had time to prepare and to get her to the next level, because we didn't want her to miss a lot of school. We thought it was important that she kind of stayed in her routine.
Right. For 7-year-olds, it is important that they have routine.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, and we hear from parents oftentimes when they call us and they say, oh, you know what, I just don't know that my child needs this. They're 7, it's not that big a deal. Can you speak to the fact of, were you in those same position? Did you wonder, do I really need to go to York? Is this program all that going to be that grand?
Well, I definitely was one of those. I thought, most people think kids are resilient. They bounce back, you think you hide a lot from your children at that age, but you don't. But I really think coming to Olivia's house helped me more when she was 13. And they start the father-daughter dance. Like, how do we... And it was so amazing because I remember when they had it, Hannah's like, well, I'm not mad at my friends. I'm jealous of my friends. So I feel like we had a better handle on emotions, because a lot of times anger...
Name that feeling.
Yeah, anger comes out. Jealousy comes out as anger. And so I thought... And then, as she got older, the difficult talks about boyfriends and sex and drugs. And, I feel like I was more prepared. And I knew I had to do it, even though... Like you say, it's awkward and it's embarrassing.
And it's so true. I think when you are empowered through our program to talk about death and the feelings that accompany death, it allows you to have the courage to walk down the road of talking about sex and boyfriends and girlfriends and all of that stuff. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. When you take lesson from the master here of uncomfortable conversations, there's no doubt about it. She just has this ability to say, oh, that's not that bad. And goes right into talking about drugs. And you're like, how did that happen?
I know,
So I just believe in communication, and I believe I guess from the time I was a new mom, I just talked to my children like they were little adults. With language they can understand, but the concepts are all there. And I think I just pass that on to parents and empower them in that way. So it's nice to hear that helped you.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I do remember when you called me and said, Hannah wants to wear her dad's varsity jacket now, and she's thinking about a tattoo.
Oh,
and
tattoo.
Is this okay? and I love when parents do that, when they call and they ask and they, just want to run this by you. And that is really...
Well, I was shocked when you said the tattoo was not a bad idea. I was
No.
like, are you kidding me?
I know. I'm like, go for it. Go for it. It's become a really important bereavement tool for kids. And that really kind of happened in the 90s. That movement started, and it's really caught on. And I've seen many children.
Did she go through with the tattoo?
She does. She has a little locket, and it's hidden, unless she's in a bathing suit, but it's hidden. She has a locket with her dad's initials, and it's tasteful. And
see?
I just thought everybody I asked was going to say, oh, that's a terrible idea. She shouldn't do it. And then Leslie, that's a great idea. And I was like, I knew it. So,
Hannah loved me in that moment, didn't she?
Did.
Yeah. Well, I have been known to, surprise a lot of people a time or two.
I tell the stories often that my mom wanted me to get my ear pierced in 8th grade and wanted me to get a tattoo junior year. And I was like, I don't think so, Mom. I'm junior in high school. She's like, it's cool.
Yeah.
So she's nothing ordinary about this woman.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to just speak to your generosity. You have been so giving to this mission, and financially, you have gifted to this mission many times over in sponsoring our gala. You always have a huge, the largest table at the gala.
Well, Lynn was the first ever platinum sponsor of the gala,
That was
which was so cool.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started working at Olivia's house, I said to Vicky, who was our development director at the time, I want to create a level above gold, something really cool, and make it a special level. And she goes, you can do that, Casey, but you will never get anyone to take it. And I said, fine, Vicky, I'm still going to do it. Yeah. And when you sent in the paperwork for your platinum sponsor, I nannered in Vicky's face. I was like, look, we got one, nanner.
Yeah.
But,
And that has been such a gift. And I love every year seeing Hannah come in and go to the auction and bid on her things.
She loves that.
It's like the highlight of my night. You got to know, what did Hannah get? What did you win?
That's so true.
So I love that. And also then when we built our Hanover Center, you were instrumental in bringing this center to life. And I know that was a scary thought for you when we said, hey, can you kind of help us get to know people in Hanover? But you did a great job with that. You helped with our focus group. And then even sponsored our garden. So tell me about the conversation that went on with you and Hannah about creating a memorial garden for Dane here at the center in Hanover.
Yeah, I thought she would pick like the teen room or the welcome, but no, she wanted the garden. And I think, Dane at the house we had when he passed, he had a waterfall, he had ponds, and he loved making the outside pretty. And I think, that was why she wanted to do the garden.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew he had ponds and things like that. And he liked the outdoor.
And and the pool. He just loved to be outside, and he had a boat, and so I think maybe that was some of her. And it was so nice that you included her in the planning. She felt like she helped plan.
Well, and that was
absolutely
our landscape architect, Todd Smith. That was one of his big things. He said, I want to know what kind of colors Hannah's into, and what she's. And I said, well, let's just set up a meeting with all of us.
Yeah.
And that's so testament to this mission from the York Center and the Hanover Center. It's a community-built center. It has to reflect the community. And I think that's one of the things that you really brought to the Hanover location in this mission is you brought the community here. Without you and Hannah and that connection, we wouldn't have had the support and the buy-in that we did. So there are many people to thank in the Hanover community for building this center, but you are right on the top of that list.
What if you were to ask Hannah? Now she's away at college, so she has grown up, and she has gone off to college this year, which I'm sure was a little traumatic, but you managed to get through. I like to think coming in and being at our front desk helped you through that. But if you were to ask Hannah, what's one thing that she took away from being in our program, what do you think she'd say?
We've talked about it. I definitely think with Hannah, she has never played the victim. She's never used her dad's death as a way to get things, as a way for people to feel sorry for her. And she sees people who do that.
Yeah.
And, she picks it out right away. She picks out people who also live in the past.
And play the victim.
This is how I am because I lost my parents. Well, and
Yeah.
she's never really done that. She's never used it as an excuse. And I'm really proud of her for that. But I think that's one of the things we learned at Olivia's house too. This isn't a crutch to use the rest of your life.
Yes. Yeah, let's take the victim out of it and be the wisdom giver instead.
Yeah. So
I love that you're absolutely right. I love that she does that and that she has such grace about her. And she's a beautiful girl and we're very proud of her. And we feel like she's our baby too.
Yeah.
I really do. So I also want to talk a little bit about your role on the board of directors. We kind of have asked you to do a whole lot of things here at Olivia's house. But your role on the board, you serve as our vice president now. Talk a little bit about what that's been like for you.
It was hard at first, I didn't feel like I fit in on the board and, just having a business, I didn't really feel like a business owner because, I came by it when Dane died. But, now I feel differently. I feel like I like everyone on the board. They're so nice. They're easy to talk to.
People.
I mean, they are.
Yeah.
And they always ask, Mike just came back to the board. The first thing he asked was, how's Hannah doing?
Yes.
So most people don't remember your kids' names, but,
Right. We're such a family. It's absolutely right. Well, Hannah's pretty unforgettable anyway, but yeah, we are very close, and the board of directors is an incredible group of people. You being one of them, that makes tough decisions financially about our future and makes sure that the doors are going to be open for kids 50 years from now. And I love that you're a part of that. It tells me having a family graduate on our board is important, and it tells me that you find the value in this mission and
definitely.
And I think that you bring a wonderful flavor to all the decisions that are made there, because a lot of times the business folks can get caught up in the numbers, and that doesn't happen when we have our graduates.
Yeah, we always have to have a quantitative element to everything we do business wise. But there's that component that how we built the center, it's heart and intuition. And the day that we stop using that, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I think that you and those on the board that come from the program side of things are so instrumental, especially when we were looking at building Hanover, when the numbers didn't quite add up. We didn't quite know how we'd make this happen. We can probably get a grant. We don't know how much. It was folks like you who stepped up and said, even if you don't, you have to do it.
It's exciting to see, though, how Hanover's taken off.
Yes.
I think everyone was surprised. How much we raised the first fundraiser. And
absolutely.
Well, we kept saying, we'll do it until a roadblock comes up. And when that roadblock comes up, then we'll know we weren't supposed to do it. But every single time I thought we'd see a roadblock, they just got knocked down.
Yeah. Hanover just has the most welcoming arms, and this community has been so wonderful in saying, this is what we want for our children, we're going to make it happen. And the families just keep coming. And we were recently at a couple different health fairs in the community, so getting our name out there and letting people know, we do have an office here, because it's still one of the best kept secrets that Olivia's house is in York and Hanover.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's never a time where we can stop talking about what we do, because I think people need to know.
Right.
But we appreciate you taking the time to come in here today and talk to us, and fill us in on everything that's going on. Before we leave, I just want to touch on one other thing you shared with me that you're now going through. I mean, it was enough you went through the loss of your husband and raising your daughter, and sending her off to college, but now one of her pets is getting ready to pass.
Yeah.
So here again, using those skills this very week, what's it been like for you now it just seems like there's just all kinds of times you have to put these tools to use.
And I think, as a mother, my first instinct was, I'm not going to tell her. I'm going to hide it from her. And then, she's 18, and this is what happens in life. Pets get old, and you have to make tough decisions. And so that's what we're going through.
We normally outlive our pets.
Right.
And it's so funny, because there you are, back when she was 7. I don't want to
tell her.
Yeah. and really, when it comes to life and the cycle of life, you can't kind of
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and
hide from it.
did I hear you correct? You went out to tell Hannah about this?
I went to one of her games.
Yeah.
She plays field hockey, so I went on Saturday, and after we went to lunch, and I told her, you know, Sammy wasn't doing well. She's sick, and so.
I say kudos to you for like doing that in person. You know, that's so important to have not called or, you know,
or
done
text,
that, to be able to do it in person and let her know and make that almost, again, like a family conversation.
And it's interesting. I remember when I went away to college, I went 6 hours away, so I couldn't come home until Thanksgiving. But I remember missing my pets most because I could talk to my mom, I could talk to my grandparents, talk to my brother or sister. I couldn't talk to my pets. So I miss them terribly. Oh. So they are furry family members, and you know.
Well, nowadays you can FaceTime with them. So
that's
the
true.
kids are big FaceTime. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I'm not used to it, but they do that a lot.
But I do think it's really just another way that you put your skills to use, and so kudos to you for that. And thanks for being here with us and coming in and kind of sharing that, you know, this mission has been here a long time, and you've been with us from the beginning. So, you know, we hope that you're with us many, many, many more years. Yeah. But thank you for all that you do.
You're welcome.
And give a big hug to that girl, Lars.
Thanks.
And also we have to send thanks out to the sponsor of season 2 of Oh By the Way, AseraCare Hospice Foundation. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode and all of our episodes of season 2. With that being said, tune in next month. We got another great show coming to you. I think we might be on the road again.
On the road and on the radio.
Absolutely. So we'll hope to see you then. Have a great month, everyone.
Bye-bye.